Hey you, the formula to joy. Do you want more joy in your life? What about some love and some bliss? Let's get really soppy. What would happen if you became an alchemist, the ultimate transformer, and transformed every goal, every adventure that you have, every breath that you take? What would that be like? And what would it be like if you knew a simple way of doing it? If I broke it down into very simple steps that just generalize into everything. What would that be like? Well, if you want to know, have a listen after this. So, the 90 seconds of hypnosis tracks. Why have I put hypnosis tracks on a separate website? Well, it's so simple really. I wanted you to have them all in one place so you can look through them all. You can find the particular one you want. I've even made them downloadable so you can put them on any of your playing devices that you prefer. You don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need the iTunes or whatever. You can put them anywhere you like. You can even burn them onto disk if you want. Where do you get them? Well, there you go. I told you it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you're worried about your email address, please don't be, because they stay totally safe with me. I only use them to send you out that email and give you access. Simple as that. I send you a link, a special link, so you and only you can access those hypnosis tracks, because I want them just for you. And the other thing about this is you've taken responsibility. I don't want to make these open to everyone, just random. You have taken responsibility to listen and be part of this community of personal development. And I want to help you. I want to help you personally to get your dreams, your goals. And therefore, I'm giving you these tools, these protocols, these paradigms, whatever you want to call them, but in deep hypnosis. So just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, my friend, how are you? And the formula to joy. Really? Formula to joy? Is that a clickbait title? Maybe a little, and I'm sort of sorry for that, but I'm not. Why am I not sorry for doing that? Because I tell you why. I want you. I want me. I want all of us, but especially you, to experience more joy in your life. In fact, I'd love you to experience more joy than you can stand. And the thing is, when you have joy in your life, I don't think we realize it, because we're right in the moment and we just experience it. It's only when we don't have it is when we remember not having it. It's like when you're in the moment, you're in the flow, you've got joy, but you also feel safe. Well, you never know and never realize you feel safe, but you are safe because you're doing the stuff that you love and you're doing it well. But when you're not safe, that's when you realize you haven't got that safety. So I want you to have more joy. You see, when you have joy in your life, you're pretty safe. You're doing stuff that you love. Hopefully you're being successful. You're sharing, you're doing, you're being. And that means you're putting out into the world something which is really quite special. You see, we being, when working with clients, and Joseph and I used to do a weekend, and Joseph still does a weekend seminar. And in that weekend seminar, we've adapted a process I use with clients, but we adapted it to a group setting to remind us all of what true love is. Because when you feel true love, you get into that feeling of bliss. And when you have true love and bliss, that's where the joy just comes in. And when we do that process, it often ends in tears. You say, why are you crying? And people will actually say, these are tears of joy, Paul. Now, you might be thinking this is a little bit wishy-washy. I'm too big a man for that. I don't, or, that's not me. But yeah, it is you. It really is. Male, female, whatever people call themselves these days. We all need true love. Because true love, yeah, I believe this. Love is the only real true emotion. Everything else is a derivative of love or not love. True love is that one emotion that when you spread it and you have it, it's absolutely awesome. And then it does become that bliss. And we find true joy in everything. So I want you to become an alchemist. What? An alchemist? Yeah, an alchemist. An alchemist is the ultimate transformer. So you can transform every emotion or every situation into love, bliss, and joy. So love being the only true emotion, bliss is great, and joy makes everything. And when you have love, bliss, or any other combination of these three, you have something absolutely awesome. And you won't realize it until you realize it. And you see, it doesn't have to be complicated to work. As one of my side notes is, it just doesn't have to be complicated. It might seem complicated, the thought of it, because sometimes we think, well, yeah, I'd love more joy in my life, more bliss, more love. That seems a bit difficult, especially the way I feel. But you can do it. You will do it. And you'll even say, yes, I am doing it. That's how I want you to feel through this. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I'm doing it in the present. I want you to realize it sometimes. Sometimes I want you just to be so joyful, so loving and full of bliss that you're just in the moment and in the present. But if at that same time we can realize it, that's when we can tell our unconscious mind, this is it. Now, here's the thing. I wonder if you could do this for me. If you were to imagine to having that combination now, how would that transform your life? Okay, before you do that, just make sure there's nothing you really need to be doing or nothing needs your attention. You can just listen to this through, but obviously I don't want you driving. Well, if you need to drive. It's not hypnosis, but I just want you to imagine how having joy in your life would be. How would you see the world differently if you knew you had joy right now? If you had, we'll call it pure love and bliss right now in whatever you were doing. In fact, how would it be if you were to transform, how would it transform your life if you were to have it in all areas of your life? Maybe there'd be different intensities, but what would you see? How would you see the world differently? Because you would see it differently, wouldn't you? What wonders would you notice that you're not noticing now? The colours, the movement. And what would you hear? How would you hear things differently? Would you hear your own voice differently? And going back to that, what would you see? What would the pictures be in your mind? Those internal representations, as we call them. What would they be like? That picture, that movie in your mind when you have joy to all different intensities. What would you see? What would you hear? What would your inner voice be like if you were experiencing joy, love, bliss? Maybe you could even smell it. The world would smell, I think, differently. It would taste differently. Wouldn't every meal taste different if you were experiencing joy? Smell differently? Wouldn't it be so subtle? And when you put what you see on the inside and the outside, what you hear on the inside and the outside, what you smell and taste, how would that make you feel? Yeah. In every different area of your life. You could pick one area of your life, how would that make you feel? But imagine having that spread through all different areas of your life, whether it's your relationships, a special relationship, your career, your social life, your spirituality, that personal development, that's just you being you. What would that be like when you experience pure joy, pure love, pure bliss? What would you be doing differently right now when you experience pure joy? Right now. How would you be doing things differently? What would you be experiencing differently right now when you have joy, pure joy, with bliss and love? What would you be learning from those experiences differently right now? How would it change your values, your beliefs right now? And with those values and your beliefs, experiencing love, joy, bliss, that would then change your learnings again, wouldn't it? And those learnings would change your experiences, because wouldn't you be doing things differently? It's a lovely, lovely circle that just gets better and better. The thing is, you see, this sort of came to me a little bit while I was puzzling a little bit. You know my puzzle book? I did say that. I've got a yellow one. Yellow ones are the best, I think. But I was musing. And as I was musing, I was trying to think, we tend to work towards joy. We tend to work towards the love and the bliss. Because if we do this, this, and this, then we might find love, we might find bliss, we might find joy. So it's like the end result. It's the end result of a goal, or it becomes a goal. And I thought to myself, no, it's not. It's not the end result. It's not the goal. The goal is not to have bliss, joy, and love. It's not the end result. Now, you might be saying, what the hell are you talking about, Cluffy? Of course it's the end result. That's what I would, I've just experienced in my mind just a minute ago. You led me through it. It would make so much difference to what I was doing, what I'd be experiencing, what I'd be learning, my values and my beliefs, and how that would all change everything. Of course it's a goal. Okay, come with me just for a moment. Come with me. And again, just imagine, what would it be like? Little stutter there, because I was getting excited. I stuttered again. Imagine what it would be like having it before you started the goal, before you started a project, before you started a conversation, before you started an interaction, before you started anything, any behavior. What would that be like? You see, as you think about that now, your conscious mind becomes the goal setter, which is what it is. It sets the goal for your unconscious mind to be the goal getter, to find all the resources, the skills, to notice everything that's going on the outside, to filter everything you experience. So, what would it be like? Imagine it now, if you had joy, bliss, and love before you started anything. And then, not even just at the beginning, because this is where my thoughts went a little even further, not just goal setter, the goal getter, but then along the way, along the adventure, or if you're really boring, you could go along the journey with me. I'm sorry, that makes me laugh, because I always think of journeys being boring because they just have a start and an end. But an adventure filled with love, joy, bliss, you will experience things you never imagine. It just gets better and better. And the thing is, when you think about it, isn't everything a goal? Everything? Because everything you do has to me, a goal is an aim, an end in mind. So isn't that everything that you do has a goal or an aim in mind? Even just, I don't know, if you think about it, just going to work, that's a sort of aim, even if you don't like the job. There's an aim, there's a goal in mind to get through the day. What would happen if you went through that day, but with love, bliss, and joy? Fuck, that'd be different, wouldn't it? Sorry about the swearing, but it just came out. What about just going to the shops? Wouldn't that be different? That's a goal, isn't it? You're going to buy something? You're going to interact with people? What would happen if you started that first step with joy, bliss, and love? What about if you're going to spend time with that special person, that special someone in your life? Maybe. And I thought about this. This was one which, took a little bit, but it's a bit hard to admit to, I guess. Even you, spending time with you. What would happen if you spent time with you from the beginning and every step along the way, not just the beginning, middle, and end, but the whole adventure of being with you for, even if it's only a minute, if you had love, bliss, and joy? Wow. It's all about letting go of a bit of anxiety and fear, I guess. But what would happen if you did some work letting go of anxiety and fear? But at the beginning, through the adventure, to the very end, you had love, joy, bliss. Wouldn't that go better? So, and I don't know how you see being an alchemist. It could be like Merlin. I don't know where this is all coming from, with a pointed hat and a blue, purple costume and a big white beard. No. Just imagine being an alchemist, maybe Superman, maybe having superpowers. But whatever hat, I don't know why I shouted that, whatever hat or costume you could imagine, or just being you, imagine if you were the alchemist and began to have and create joy, love, and bliss in different parts of your life. You see, when you did that and you imagined, then your unconscious mind taking that and generalizing it into other areas of your life. You see, when you do that, that's what happens. When you do one thing and it's good or neutral or not so good, your unconscious mind tends to generalize it. That's why when people have problems, I guess, when they come and see me as a client, they had something which was a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of fear at one time, a little bit of unconfidence or a little bit of low self-esteem. And it was only in one area of their life. But as they go through their life, that feeling tends to generalize into other areas of your life because your unconscious mind just does that to try to protect you. Suddenly realizes, well, if I did it here, I can do it over there. Well, guess what? That also works in reverse. So if you get something which is good going on in your life and you feel good, then it generalizes into other areas of your life, which is why when I work with people, we work on the root cause, that one thing that when disappeared, let go, everything else of the issue has to disappear too. But when we get the feedback after, it's, well, that's gone, but also I've noticed I'm more confident when I socialize, or I'm more comfortable when I meet other people, or I'm more comfortable at work, or I can talk to my boss now because it's just different. But we didn't work on that, Cluffy. They don't call me Cluffy, they call me Paul. But we didn't work on that, but it just seems to be so much better. Yeah. Isn't that different? But isn't that lovely to think that we can use a natural process? And all you have to do, maybe, imagine it. No way, you're saying now. No way. Well, I just told you how it happens. But thing is, let's take that no way away and wonder how you can add how getting it will make you feel. And what we call it sometimes, you've heard me call it this, it's the feeling of the wish fulfilled. What's that, Cluffy, again? Maybe you're new. The feeling of the wish fulfilled. Basically, it's so easy and simple and quick because we love simple things, because in simplicity there's genius. We like easy things because I hate bloody complicated stuff. And I like speed because one thing your unconscious mind likes is speed. When we change quickly, we change deeply. So, the thing is, we want the feeling of the wish fulfilled, but also we want to add to it the feeling of the wish fulfilled and add the missing key. What, the missing key? What's the missing key, you might say, Cluffy? Because it's missing. Well, I'll tell you. That was a suspenseful pause, if you had subtitles. You see, to bring it into your life and be present, you want to add one more thing. And that's that feeling of feeling grateful. Not the act of, well, it's a sort of act of gratitude. We don't have to write this one down at the moment, but you get that feeling of the wish fulfilled, which is, what would it feel like if I'd have achieved this goal? Maybe it's just going down the shop. What would it feel like going down there and having a great time and feeling joy? What would it feel like if I had joy, bliss, and love in doing that? Or what would it feel like if I had love, bliss, and joy all the way through, meeting that special person in my life, or being able to go to work and do this, or meet that boss, or whatever, being with me? What would it feel like having got that? And then add to that how grateful you would be. If you had that now, how grateful would you feel? And when you feel that wish fulfilled, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and add to it that wonderful feeling, I'm so lucky to have this. I'm so grateful for having this. If you can imagine that right now, just think of one thing you'd like to have happen and be so good, so full of joy, love, and bliss. And that's a bit soppy, but go with me. Come on. And you achieved it. What would that feel like if you achieved it and had that? And now feel the feeling of gratefulness. And as you feel that feeling, and the two feelings mixing together now, here's the thing. Double the feeling. Yes, you can double the feeling. Yes, you can just double it. And if you wanted to, just notice the direction that it spins, it turns, and spin it faster. And then you spin it faster and you double that feeling. Double the feeling and spin it. Just double the feeling. And when you double the feeling, and it feels so good, so grateful, so absolutely awesome, then you do the next step. Just do the thing you want to do. Just do it now. Because you'll just start the adventure. You will go through the adventure right to the very end. And each time you do this, your unconscious mind will get it. And it will start to create it even more. If you believe in the law of attraction, you'll get it. Because you're now spinning out this wonderful signal. And you're sending out a vibration to the multiverse universe. It's going to attract all this wonderful stuff to you. And it's all about this feeling of feeling grateful and the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which is all about love, bliss, and joy, which are the most wonderful feelings in the world, therefore, so positive. And you'll get it. But you might say, Cluffy, hey, I don't believe in the law of attraction. So what? If it works anyway. But also, there's a biological thing they call the reticulating activating system. And it's biological in that your mind filters out everything that isn't what you're feeling and looks for the things that you're feeling in your life. So the things that were always there, but you were deleting and distorting, that's what we do, then we turn it over, use that same natural process to delete and distort everything that isn't what you want and looks for that feeling. Things that will generate that feeling. Opportunities will generate that feeling. So it just works. And when you do that, the other thing that happens is you'll be firing those synaptic gaps, those neural pathways. They'll be firing together, wiring together. And what have you done? You've just imagined it. You've imagined what you want. You've thought about what it would be like to have the most successful ending. What would it feel like? The feeling of the wish fulfilled, especially with love, joy, and bliss, and then feeling so grateful, firing those synaptic gaps, those neural pathways, firing together, wiring together. Does it sound great? And it is. And you might even say it's too simple. That's because it's so bloody genius. But only one thing about this process, or if you call it a process, a protocol, a way of being, because it works, but it doesn't work. What? What are you talking about, Cluffy? It doesn't work. It doesn't work if all you're going to do is know this. Understand it, intellectualize it. Yeah, I know all about that. I understand that. Because that means nothing. It's about knowing this and doing this. Because if you don't, it all makes everything I've just said a waste of time. You've just wasted my time, your time. But I know I haven't, because I know the seeds have been set. That imagination has set the seeds. And the seeds are now growing, and all you have to nurture them by going into that wish fulfilled and that feeling of gratitude and thinking, imagining, visualizing. So when you start doing what you know and knowing what you do, you become a master. That's a definition for me of mastery. And so you become to master this. That's another suspenseful sort of thing. So why don't you just think about mastery? So you start doing this. Yeah, it's a bit clunky to start off with because that's how we learn things. We start learning things clunky. Before I told you about this, you may not have even known about it. The second step is knowing that you didn't know about it. The third step is starting to do this stuff and it's clunky. And the fourth step is doing it unconsciously as an unconscious habit. They're the 4 steps of learning. So what are you going to do? First of all, I'm going to suggest, you can get a yellow one, or you can get any color you like, or you can just get a piece of paper, a card, an index card, anything, a sticky Post-it pad, and write down this. Set your intention, because obviously you want to know where you're going. I want to achieve this, because if you don't know what you're going to achieve, then you won't know what the feeling of the wish fulfilled will be. You've got to set your intention, that goal setter. Think of joy, bliss, love. Then you get the feeling of the wish fulfilled. What would it feel like when I've finished and completed it? And then having that feeling of gratitude. So all you need to write down is set intention, joy, love, bliss, and the goal. The feeling of the wish fulfilled, the feeling of the completion, having already got it, and that feeling of gratitude. And then make a note to do this at the start of everything, because as we said at the beginning, everything is a goal, an aim in mind. So you can do it before you're planning. Maybe even do it before you write this down. Set your intention, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, gratitude. But if you're planning something, this works for business. If you're planning something, you're scheduling something, you've got say you've got a massive project. Okay, that's big. But we all know we're going to break that down into the little steps. And every step you do, just set your intention, love, joy, bliss, and then the feeling of the wish fulfilled. What would it feel like if I got it all through that, having that successfully? And then that feeling of gratitude. And as soon as you get all 3 together, boom, start. Just start. And as you do that, you're going to start getting success. So whether it's planning, scheduling, thinking's good, puzzle booking, anything, even if it's just straight out your head, I'm going to meet this special person, I'm going to want to commit, or I'm going to want to connect, give myself, be authentic, sing from my real voice, everything we talk about here. Set your intention, love, joy, bliss, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, what it feel like having got it, and then gratitude for having it, and then start with it, and know you can go all the way through with it, and then your unconscious mind can take it. You can even say this or something better. And even when you've gone through it and you look back and you review it and you go, do you know what, that was bloody awesome? Give yourself another act of gratitude to say how grateful you are of having that wonderful experience. And the more you do this, how long does it take? Not very long at all, especially when you get over that clunkiness, which is why I ask you to write it down, schedule it, even scheduling this type of stuff. Make it the first bullet point of everything you do, maybe the first part of your mind map. And then your unconscious mind can then begin to make it a habit, because it will, because as you start to do it, it'll become an unconscious habit, because those bloody neural pathways are firing and wiring together. The synaptic gaps are firing away like a good one. And because you feel so good, your unconscious mind knows this is where safety comes from. And it's a good feeling. And then you become grateful about that too, because it'll become an unconscious habit. But just keep reinforcing it consciously, because remember, your conscious mind is the goal setter. Write those goals down. And, what shall I do before I write my goal down? I'm going to set my intention. First bullet point, love, joy, bliss. The feeling of the wish fulfilled, gratitude. Make sure I do it at the end. And then I'm going to do it at the start. And if I want to, right in the middle, I can reinforce it. just by doing the very same thing. I know my intention. I can remember, I can think and remember now what it's going to feel like. And I'll be so grateful for it. Love, joy, bliss. And then you can go, I'm so grateful for Cluffy for bringing me this wonderfully complicated, which is really simple, the missing key. Now, having said all of that, I just want to very quickly just remind you that you can become the alchemist, the ultimate transformer. Apologize for the little clickbait title, but even if you share this, it'll be a wonderful example of another thing to do, because sharing by example, by showing people, so it's not only the example, but you become the example. And why would you do that? This is my meta view type of thing, because it's simply the right thing to do. And more important, I think you should be selfish about this, because if you're going to be selfish to feel love, joy, and bliss, you're going to share it with everyone anyway. And you're going to start to realize that life doesn't have to be complicated. Certainly it doesn't have to be complicated to work, because this wasn't a difficult, complicated process. And as I said, once you start this, I want you to feel not just I will do it, but I'm doing it. And you'll also find out that when you have that love, joy, and bliss, and you have it all the way through every adventure, then it makes, I'm going to say all, but nearly all things possible, because it's your definition of possibility. And you know what? That's exactly the same for me too. This recording of me sharing, me opening up the love, joy, and bliss that I have for you. Yeah, that was a little struggle sometimes, to be vulnerable, to talk about this stuff. But it's possible. We just have to give ourselves, don't we? Anyway, my friend, I really hope you enjoyed that. I hope I made it as simple as possible to make it doable, that you can enjoy it, that you might want to even rewind it, but just remember, you just have to visualize things. How would it be different if you had it right now? What would you see on the outside, the inside? What would you hear on the outside, the inside, your inner voice, the outside sounds, the smell and the taste, and then how would that all feel? And having that feeling, how would it change your experience right now? Your values, your beliefs, which would change everything, wouldn't it? So I do hope you enjoyed that. If there's anything that you would like to know even more about this, or it sparks something in your intuition or your thoughts or your curiosity, please do send me an email, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. I'd love to hear your feedback if you like this type of sharing, if you like these type of processes, or if you think I could do something differently which would make it even more better. I'd love to hear your feedback, either way. And I'd also like to hear the effect that this has had on your life, because I know it'll have a wonderfully positive effect on your life, and I'd love you to share that with me so I can share it with other people too. Obviously anonymous, but just to share how people are using these processes and are creating a difference in their life. That will inspire so many other people to do the same. And when we're all doing the same, we become that living example, don't we? Because it's the right thing to do. The integrated field of learning gets buzzing with all of this, and we just get to live in a world that's, Jesus, it needs to be a better place, doesn't it? A lot of people without love, joy, and bliss. So let's start doing our bit. Anyway, please do that. Please share this podcast, this episode. Tell people about the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, your old mate Cluffy. That would be awesome. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you get this whenever they come out, every Saturday. The odd 5-minute quickie will come out every now and again. And maybe sign up to the newsletter. And the newsletter comes when you sign up to the free hypnosis track. So it's a double whammy, isn't it? How do I get that, Cluffy? Well, you go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast. That's it. You'll get a signing in thing, get a confirmation email, and on that confirmation email, it gives you what to put in if you want to, that is, buy any of my premium products, and there's not many, but there's like Supreme Inner Confidence, Letting Go of Anxieties, and 1 or 2 different hypnosis tracks, such as creating a inner mind palace with lots of different... Have a look. Where do I get those from? paulcloughonline.com. But in that email, as I say, you get a discount, and you get the code to put in, and you get something like 70%. Oh, shouldn't have said that, because that's a secret between you when you sign up. But hey, it's out there now. So do sign up for that, because if nothing else, you just have 50 plus free hypnosis tracks, which they come from different longer podcasts. So you might stir you into looking some of the old or the previous episodes, because there's so much here. I know sometimes I just look back because I can't believe how many episodes we've got and the things that we've talked about and discussed and dived deeply into. It's a mega amount here. Anyway, have more joy, bliss, and love than you can stand. Until the next time, my friend, go fly.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.